When we think of death, we don't think of an end. That death is not an end, but death is just another phase of the journey of the human person into everlasting life. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! Ooh. You see that? All the leaves, all the leaves. Welcome to another dose of holy. This is Father Sunny, and it is one sunshiny fall day in the fall. And during this time, I might have mentioned it before, but during this time of the year, I usually become a little bit nostalgic, a little bit sentimental, as I see all the leaves of the trees come down into the ground, and as the trees begin this path of dormancy, preparing them for the winter months that are to come, because the days are becoming shorter, and the temperature is becoming colder. The trees now start to shed their leaves. It's a fabulous time of the year. It's actually my favorite because of the colors of the season, but also the smell and the sentiments of the season. And we can't help but think during this time about the idea of life after death, or whatever is beyond death. I have already made a video in the past pertaining to the memento mori, or thinking about or remembering your death. But I think it's very important also to realize that when we think of death, we don't think of an end. That death is not an end, but death is just another phase of the journey of the human person into everlasting life. Ooh, look at that! Look at that! You see that? All the leaves, all the leaves. The journey of the human person not naturally, necessarily concludes in this earthly path, and the moment of death is the curtain that takes us to another door, and the door of everlasting life. Whenever we celebrate the Eucharist, and whenever we profess the faith, we say, "I believe in the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting." So, believing in the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and life everlasting means acknowledging that there is something else beyond death that we believe exists, and is the promise to the human person that when we die, we don't really necessarily go to the ground, but that our consciousness, our soul, our spirit continues to live on. And it is that spirit that gets united with God, experiences the fullness of God's presence in a way. And so that is our heaven. Heaven is the experience of everlasting life. So actually, it is true. Sometimes we don't think of death as something that will happen to us, but I think once one of our loved ones pass away, or once somebody that we know passes away, it begins to confront us, and confront our greatest core beliefs, and that is one of them. Is there really something that happens after life? Is death really the end of the human person? And of course, our simple logic, our minds, cannot possibly succumb to the idea that death is our end, especially because there's so many spiritual things that we experience in our lives that are not really connected to the physical experience or the physical death of a body. And it is the soul that experiences the things that don't go to the ground, that don't die. And so it's very important for us, especially during this time, to acknowledge what is beyond death, and that is life everlasting. And that we are all called to prepare one way or the other for that life everlasting. During the season, of course, we have also the feast of All Saints, which is November 1st, and also the feast of All Souls, which is the following day, the day after, November 2nd. And these days are days to be able to call us forth to think about these things beyond this life. It's so easy to be caught up in things of this world because we are so connected to matter right now. But by the grace of the Lord, we hope to be able to see beyond the material things and surpass these, and look beyond death look beyond this earthly material life and focus on life everlasting. So that's the important thing to do today, I suppose, in order that we don't live our lives frivolously, but instead to be preparing always for what is beyond death. We do that in many ways, particularly by praying. So I pray with you today in a special way, and ask the Lord today to grant us an awareness of the beauty of creation, that you, Lord, created the universe in such a way that death is not our end, but that death is only a door to everlasting life. Help us to appreciate the life that you have given us and journey in this life the best way possible, in living our lives in excellence, enjoying the gifts that you have given us, but most of all, preparing ourselves well for the eventual encounter that we have with you in the other side of life, beyond this earthly journey. May the Lord protect us always and grant us a happy, holy, and healthy life in this world, to prepare us and conduce us to an everlasting life in heaven. God bless you, and this is Father Sunny for another dose of Holy. Bye.